And so Epictetus would say, life is not a series of random, meaningless episodes, but an ordered, elegant whole that follows ultimately comprehensible laws. Okay. And so this starts to open up a new dimension and put things into a different perspective, doesn't it? And so it also sheds a different light on what I understand the source of my happiness and inner freedom is. So if we listen to Stoics and to Epictetus, is what they say is that what we have, whether it's the external positions or our skills, where we work, our social background, where we are from, our nationality, all of that is something that is secondary to my inner freedom and my happiness. Okay. What is truly needed is to see the world as an integrated whole and focus ourselves on that which is the highest good. And that for Epictetus was to adopt the will of nature as our own. And you probably are asking yourself, what does that mean for me today practically? Well, if I embrace the possibility that the laws of life exist, Epictetus would call it divine will or divine providence. I start understanding that, in the words of Epictetus, is that everything is governed with justice and goodness. That's what he would say. Okay. And therefore, I recognize that the same laws of life apply to my human nature and are governed by justice and goodness. And so you can see that that Epictetus, the Stoic philosophers, but in reality, all ancient philosophers of East and West rooted the human nature in the intelligence, justice, and goodness of nature. They would call it the higher self, or if we read Plato, he would call it the individual. But you can also call it the inner being. But what they were all trying is to use the words to express the reality or the inner condition of the human being that is in harmony with nature. Not that they didn't recognize that we have an ego, which they understood to be the seat of our desires, our challenges, our instincts and doubts. But what they refused is to identify human nature with that aspect of ourselves, which they consider to be the lower aspect of ourselves. The paragraph from Epictetus sums this quite well. So I will just read it out. Understand what freedom really is and how it is achieved. Freedom isn't the right or ability to do whatever you please. Freedom comes from understanding the limits of our own power and natural limits set in place by divine providence. By accepting life's limits, we said that by accepting the life's limits and inevitabilities and working with them rather than fighting them, we become free. If, on the other hand, we succumb to our passing desires for things that aren't in our control, freedom is lost. Okay. So